Hi, everybody. It's Ron Deal, and I'm joined by Gayla Grace. Gayla, it's good to have you with me.
Good to be here, Ron.
We are answering your questions again, and this started with Blended and Blessed 2021, where people submitted live questions during the live stream, and we couldn't get to all of them. And so we're just doing a series of videos to try to answer some of your questions about life and step-family living. So be watching for other videos, and you can look for them. They'll be posted here as well. All right, Gayla, let's jump in, shall we?
Yeah, so the first question kind of has more than one piece to it, but let me just read through it. So stepmom says, my husband's kids are all older. They're out of the house. They never really lived with us. I do not feel that I can say anything to him if I see poor decisions or behavior. My husband gets defensive when I say anything. Any suggestions on how to communicate more effectively, or do I just say nothing to keep And the first thing I just want to say quickly, Ron.
Yeah, go ahead. Jump in.
If you say nothing to keep the peace, you will eventually end up resentful.
Yes.
So
it won't keep any peace inside you.
Right.
Yeah. It's sort of a temporary peace. You're just pushing out the conflict because the resentment, as you said, is growing inside you. Yeah, good point. So you got to find a way to speak. I think, speak the truth in love. Didn't I read that somewhere? It's all about how you communicate. I think that's huge. If he remains defensive, then, that tells you something about the depth of his concern about this part of his relationship with his kids. And so there's something there that both of you need to try to chase. Right. And maybe you can help with that. So here's what I would suggest. Let's play it out. If you go, all right, that daughter of yours, once again, she is making those dumb decisions. Okay, that's speaking in truth in anger and bitterness. And you are not getting an audience when you lead with that.
Right.
How about, honey, I'm really concerned about your daughter because I care for her, because I love her and I want good things for her. I'm just wondering if we could talk about this last little decision she made and blah, blah, blah. Are you open to that? Soft. You're communicating your intent right up front because I care for her, because I want good things for her. Right. That's very different than you raised a mess. Yeah. Which is sort of the message of the other, right? So start with that. And then ask the question, are you open to talking about that? Maybe he is, maybe he's not. If he's not, then it's like, I notice every time this comes up, you get upset and you're anxious for your daughter. And that's obvious. I can see that. I think you know that. I'm just curious, what's that about? Again, that's different than, what's wrong with you? You're always defending her. You never listen to me. Like, you're never going to get an audience with that sort of a posture.
Yeah. I think you really hit the nail on the head by saying, I care about your daughter. I want what's best for her. Mm-hmm. Are you open to me sharing some things that I see? It just has to be a very non-threatening posture and communicating in love. Yeah. And the truth is, a step parent can see things that a biological parent can't see sometimes because the bio parent is enmeshed in this relationship. And this happened with Randy and I. He saw some things with my daughter, who was later diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, that I was not seeing. I didn't want to see it. And so I think that the biological parent has to humble themselves sometimes and hear what that step parent is seeing. But man, they can provide some insight that we don't want to see and we're not seeing.
Yeah. So. It's not to say that step parents are always right about everything they see and how they make sense of it.
Right.
But hey, open yourself up to one another. Like, if this person is God's gift to you, and I think that's the way we think about marriage, or we should think about marriage. Right. Then maybe you each have something to bring to the conversation, and you should listen to each other with a great deal of respect and honor for those pre-existing relationships. Don't just jump in and think you can change it. Right? That's going to invite defensiveness every time.
It is. And I got defensive right off the bat. I'll be honest, Ron, I wasn't prepared to hear that. And so then Randy kind of had to just back up a little bit and bring it up at another time. So just be sensitive. It's, it's not always easy, but yeah, that's good.
How about another one?
One question came up in regards to teenagers, step teenagers. She didn't give any specifics. She just asked about some tips on step parenting teenagers. And I think that's a good point. Teenagers are a different animal, even in traditional homes, right?
They are. David and Claudia Arp wrote a book years and years ago about when your kids hit the teenage years. And the title is the best title ever. Suddenly they're 13. Here's the subtitle: The Art of Hugging a Cactus.
Yeah, exactly.
They get prickly, and developmentally, we all understand what's going on. Socially, what's going on. It's a different world than when I was a teenager, for sure, with social media and smartphones and on and on and on. There's a lot there that kids are wrestling with. And so even in the best of circumstances, how many times have we seen somebody have a really good step-parent, stepchild relationship until the child hits puberty and the teen years come on, and all of a sudden there's a rift there? Well, hey, that happens in bio parents relationships.
It does.
We had 3 boys, and our experience was they just became sort of monsters to their mother. More so to their mother than to me. And so Dan and I had to regroup and go, you know what, during this season, I've got to be primary. I got to be the one who's right there going, hey, dude, you don't talk to your mom that way. Yeah. And that really had to come from me as opposed to her. I think that's a common dynamic that happens with boys and their moms.
I agree.
They grow up, they grow out of it. They come back around. As Nan would say, she got her children back. It's weird. So don't overthink it. I think sometimes step families in particular go, oh, this is a step parent thing. This is maybe, but probably not. The point is, talk to each other, decide who can best intervene at that child's season of life, and begin to say, hey, no, we don't do it that way. And give them the space you can give them, but at the same time, set limits where you need to set limits.
Yeah. And Ron, you talk about how that happened with you and Nan in a traditional family. Think about how it gets exacerbated in a step family, because stepmom is sitting here just doesn't know, already the relationship is tenuous. Yes. And so now it's just gotten harder with these boys in particular, and how much more important it is for dad to step up. Yep. And really to support stepmom and to address the behavior with the boys, with his teenage sons. The other thing with girls sometimes, though, is they can get sassy in those teenage years. Yes. I mean, at least it happened in our home. Yep. And so there were times, even with my bio girls, that Randy had to step in and help because they listened to him better than they listened to me at times. Mm-hmm. So it is such a partnership. I believe this is why God put man and woman together to raise kids. We need each other. We need each other to help us through, kind of those tougher seasons. So. And
no matter what you do, hugging a cactus is just difficult. But bottom line.
They get through it, right? We don't have teenagers anymore, and I'm thankful for that.
Yes, me too. Me too. Okay, well, let's do one more. A question came in about nature of a relationship between a biological parent and their adult child. In particular, there's one child that they're close to and seem to really need their approval or something. There's a closeness there that I think has created some blind spots for that biological parent. And the step parent is really seeing it and feeling the disharmony, and also seems to be criticized and distanced and mistreated by that adult child. Okay, we've said this before. Bio parents sometimes are blind to, well, my kids don't treat me that way. Talking to the step parent, then it's sort of like the message is, you must be crazy because my kids don't act that way. Well, they don't act that way to you. Right. Because of the nature of your relationship with them. It's different. But they do act that way sometimes to step parents and to, other people in the community. Exactly. It's the same thing when your kids went to school and the teacher said, oh, I just love your precious darling. And you're like, what child are you talking about? Like, they don't treat me that way, but apparently they're nice to you at school. Well, okay. Kids can be different in different contexts. So bio parents, wake up to this. That's the message here. Wake up to it. And now you have to decide. Here's the key difficult thing in this. You're stuck in the middle between your child, no matter how old they are, and your spouse.
Yeah.
And when you recognize something here, I think you have to find the resolve to gently talk to your child. Mm-hmm. Hey, I don't appreciate you treating my spouse this way. Now, here's what you're risking. If you're an approval seeking parent, you are risking disapproval. I get it. This is hard. It's challenging. It's going to rock your world. You've never been in this space before. You're going to have to breathe and find the courage to do this in a loving way, but to say, don't stop. I don't appreciate that. You and me, we're good. I still love you, but no, you don't treat him that way.
Right.
It really comes down to finding the courage to speak into your child's life, perhaps in a way you have never done.
Yeah.
And it's hard when it's the first time and you're going to be scared to death, but you're forever paralyzed if you don't. You're not serving your child because they think they can do that kind of stuff and get away with it. Mm-hmm. And you're certainly not serving your marriage because your usness is taking a hit every time your spouse, the step-parent, feels mistreated.
Yeah, exactly. And Ron, what Randy used to say, I remember him saying this several times, is Gayla is not going away. And so let's figure out how to include her in this circle of us as a family. And I think that helped for his kids to understand. He was united with me. He was standing with me and helping his kids understand she's not going away. So let's figure this out.
I love that. I love the implied message from your husband to his kids is, look, she's a part of me. Right. I'm a part of her. She's a part of us. Let's figure this out. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to make some changes. I'm going to have to make some changes.
Right.
And again, I can't underestimate, it is the biological parent who has to find the courage to stand in this gap, or it will not get better.
Yeah. And it might have to be done more than once. I mean, it probably is going to have to be addressed more than one time.
Good point.
Time does help with a lot of those dynamics.
It can. And if time has not proven helpful as of yet, then it's time for you to stand in the gap.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Gayla, thanks for being with me again today.
Enjoyed it.
And to you, the viewer, thanks for being with us. We want to serve you through Family Life Blended. That's what we do, is help blended families, and we help church leaders and professionals understand step families so that they can serve them better as well. Come visit us, see all that we have available for you: books, podcasts, video series, online, virtual classes, live events. It's all there. FamilyLife.com/blended, FamilyLife.com/blended.
See you next time.
All right.